So I've just spent the majority of this morning and this afternoon at Paisley University, and I've spoken to many people here today. I would say at least 25 to 30 of the students here at Paisley University. There's a couple I'm going to upload onto this. I've put this at the beginning. And my main thing today was to just ask many of the students if they had heard of this whole question in regards to the shape of the Earth. And it's very interesting because, I would say 70% of the people that I'd asked today have indeed heard of this. And I spoke in detail with quite a few of them about this subject. Obviously, some of them didn't want to be on camera, which is understandable, but I'm still willing to stand there and have the conversation, and it's really good. It just shows shows to me that people are open again to questioning. They're willing to have these discussions, and quite a few of them, they're really intrigued. In particular, one of the fine young gentlemen that I will show on this, I've just finished a conversation. I think I sat there for about an hour and 45 minutes with a young man from Spain, and we discussed various different topics from evolution, spirituality, and it really was a great day, great conversation, and I really appreciate these people taking the time to speak to me. But again, this is being recognised now by so many more people, and they are open to it, and a lot of the people who I spoke to did agree that science should be open to these things. Everybody should be open to investigating and questioning the validity of any claims that's made to them. Now again, and I'm going to get back to this, people will say, oh, you're always going about the water. Well, it's a huge thing. Earth is 80% water. And again, when you appeal to people's common sense and everyday direct experience, they understand these things. And again, a few of these people, when I spoke to them, especially, the last gentleman, you ask them why they believe these things, and they tell you openly and honestly it's because of what they were told or what they have seen on the TV, and never through proper investigation, asking themselves, trying to prove, falsify or verify things for themselves. They've just assumed these things to be true and incorporated them into their belief systems. So again, great conversation, and I keep encouraging people to just keep getting out there and speaking to people. Again, it's no taboo anymore. The ridicule doesn't seem to be there. You obviously get some of the kind of sniggers initially, but when you start to get into the conversation with people, the majority of them are intellectually honest, where they realise some of the contradictions. And again, I always ask them, are you going to investigate this after the conversation? Some of them say no, but the majority of them are saying yeah. They thank me for the conversation, and it's an intriguing conversation. So what else can I say? Paisley University, I'll continue to do this, and I actively says to these students, we're trying to encourage lecturers, people who are supposed scientists within the universities, to come forward and have the discussion. And again, anybody, regardless of what you believe, this is for science, this is about objective truth. So you should be aware that there is many people asking this question, and the main concern for the scientific community is to have this investigation, have these discussions openly, without ridicule, because if it is science, it should never be a closed book. So we can only hope that these things will come to pass, and that we can progress further. So hope you enjoy the discussions with the chaps that I'm going to upload in this particular video. Peace, people. Hey bud, what's your name?
I'm Robin.
Robin, how you doing, Robin?
I'm good, thanks.
Are you a student at all, Robin?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you what you study?
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering?
Yeah.
So you're quite mechanically minded then?
Somewhat, yeah.
Somewhat. If I says to you, Robin, sorry, was it? Yep.
Yeah.
I've been looking into a subject, and it's in regards to the shape of the Earth. And there's a huge kind of ongoing debate happening right now. I don't know if you're aware of it. Have you heard about this debate and whether or not the Earth is actually flat?
Yeah, I have heard about it.
You have heard of it. Can I ask you what you think of that?
I've heard I heard one of the arguments for it. One of the guys was saying that proof of the Earth being flat is the flight paths that the airplanes take.
Yeah.
And always comes down to the fact that you can see live footage from a satellite. You know.
Yes.
It's
So
circular, yeah.
so do you believe it is a globe then?
Yes.
And that would be your main reason for believing so, is because of these images that we see on the TV. Would you say that images would be conclusive scientific proof of something being true? No,
not necessarily. But in this case, I do agree with it because it would be hard to fake something of this magnitude.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, even considering like Hollywood's capabilities and computer-generated capabilities, you still think it would be really difficult? I mean, if we look at movies, like Interstellar or The Martian, I mean, we see movies where they can depict the same kind of scenarios very easily. So for me, it really isn't enough. I would always come back to substance, and I think, if I says to you that for me the foundations of actual science, you have to have a measurable substance. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So my main concern and my main question then is, we've used spirit levels and plumb bobs for
Since
hundreds
the Romans, yes.
Yeah. The reason we use a spirit level obviously is because of how liquid behaves. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And that liquid will always level off and take the shape of its container,
yeah,
but the surface will always remain level.
Yeah.
And if it's on a decline, the water would flow.
Yeah.
Would you say then that it's feasible to suggest that a large body of water is conforming to and displaying convexity upon its surface? So in order to believe in a globe Earth, you would have to believe that large bodies of water are not contained and that the surface is displaying convexity, like humping in the middle.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything that would suggest that would be capable, that would be true or possible?
What, on Earth?
On Earth?
No, I don't think so. I have. I don't know.
Well, I have never. For me, water doesn't have the ability to support itself. If I was to take a large body of water and submerge, say, my bike helmet underneath the water. Oh, thanks for that. If I was to submerge this underwater, I wouldn't see the shape, the silhouette of the helmet on the top of the water, would I?
No.
Because water is incapable of doing so.
Yeah.
But yet, Earth is 80% water, but we're supposed to believe that the bodies of water are conforming to the exterior of a globe and showing convexity upon the surface.
Yeah.
I mean, that for me contradicts substance, basic science and the understanding of fluid mechanics.
Then what is, in the flat earth theory, what is the water being held in by then?
Well, for me in my investigations, I'm just like a man who was born into this kind of, I would call it captivity. So I really don't know what is in the outer reaches, but for me, basing it on a substance science, I would say the oceans have to be contained in some way. So for me, Earth would be a container.
Okay.
Would you agree or disagree with that? I mean,
It's a good theory, yeah.
A good theory.
Got any proof? Do you have?
Well, the only proof I actually have is I can test the substance, i.e. liquid, and I know how it behaves, and then we apply that in everyday practical reality. Now that one substance alone for me suggests that the claims that we live on the exterior of any shape is false.
Okay.
So I would ask anybody who claimed that oceans do behave like that, I would say the burden is then on them, because practical reality shows us that that's not possible.
Fair enough.
So if I asked you, I know that you're not got much time, but if I was to ask you if you had some sort of proof that the Earth was a globe other than in images, what would you suggest?
Nothing, just what you've been taught in school, which is always, that's pretty biased from the government, it's government's education. The question, I don't understand what difference it would make. I don't understand if the Earth was flat or if the Earth was circle, what difference would it make, other than to scientists and geologists?
Well, I get this question quite a lot, and for me, I would say, if you can convince people that they lived on a globe, then human beings are curious and they're explorers. But if you think you live on a globe, you would think there's nothing else to discover and there's nowhere to go.
Okay.
So by that, you would then be kind of contained and controllable. If there's a possibility that there's access to other places and that Earth is something different from what we've been told, human beings are probably going to want to go and explore that and maybe leave the confines of where we are right now.
Yeah.
So for me, there's a psychological control. There's also like a kind of spiritual, religious control, if you like.
Okay.
Because telling people that they came from a big bang with no rhyme or reason and that they live on a delicate, rock, puts them in a mindset of being insignificant. And also you can convince people that there's limited resources by saying that they live on a delicate rock. Again, it comes into control.
Yeah.
So I can see many aspects for why these lies, not to mention the fact that companies like NASA get $50 million per day. I mean, I think that's a good incentive to keep a lie going, or to persuade people that they need to keep the funding coming.
Yeah.
So there's many different options. But what my main thing is trying to establish, and you've quite honestly said, because that's what you were taught from school,
yeah,
and what you see on the TV. But would you ever consider, looking into the validity of the Earth being a globe, or is it something that doesn't really bother you?
It doesn't really bother me, but I've looked into the flat Earth theory. It's just, it doesn't really impact my life in any way. So
yeah,
I'll find it interesting, and I find it interesting either way.
Yeah.
Well, it just doesn't impact my life.
Can I ask you about if you came across any names in regards to flat Earth, or?
No, not really. Yeah.
And the idea of flat Earth, what do you think flat Earth is? Is it like a round pizza shape, or a?
Well, one of these stifling sticks in this argument is why would the Earth be flat when every other planet is round? Like Mars is round, the Moon is not a planet, but it is round. Why would the Earth be flat then?
See, for me, I get this as well, and I would call that like a red herring or a logical fallacy, because I could very easily say, well, the pool balls are round, therefore the pool table is round. And and again, we don't have any actual substance in regards to these luminaries in the sky. We see images from, and I have seen amateur footage of these, what they call planets and luminaries, and they look nothing like the way NASA depicts them to be. So for me, I would have to have substance, again coming back to science, in order to know what these things are. A visual representation is not enough. I would have to have substance in order to establish what it actually was before I could make any decision. So I do hear that quite a lot. Why would the other things up there be round or circular, but yet Earth is not? And for me, it's really a red herring. It's a logical fallacy as far as I'm concerned. But I really appreciate your time, and it would be great if you did look into it.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I've looked into a bit, but I probably will give it a bit more time in between my lectures.
Aye. I mean, just before you go, you look out into the ocean and you see the horizon.
Yeah.
What shape would you say the horizon is?
Well, it's flat, but in mathematics we taught that there's no such thing as a straight line. A line is just a circular, a radius, a circle with infinite radius. That's what a straight line is defined as mathematics. So even if you look at the horizon, it will be straight, because to my perspective, it has an infinite radius. You understand?
Yeah, and I understand mathematics as being a formal science, which means it's a language, which means it doesn't depend on empirical observations. And there's actually a guy who comes onto my live thing. He's an honours degree graduate in maths and physics, and he talks about axioms and how you can start from a false premise and define, like they'll try and redefine level and what level means. Like they'll say it's the from the centre of the sphere outwards, and they try and redefine it, whereas practical reality, level means level like water, levels off, and that's a physical substance. So the definition of level is actually a straight line. But they have redefined it in mathematics because obviously it's a language.
That's quite interesting. That's interesting.
And Gav's a really interesting guy. I mean, the channel's called Beyond the Imaginary Curve. If you are ever interested,
COVE.
Curve. CURVE.
Oh, curve.
Beyond the Imaginary Curve.
Okay.
For obvious reasons, because we can't detect curvature anywhere. And there's loads of people with cameras and doing experiments to try and establish where the curvature is. Nobody can find it. So, thanks very much, man.
No problem.
Really appreciate your time.
Channel a look.
Thank you, buddy.
Have
much
a good day.
You too. Cheers.
Cheers, my man.
So, hi, bud. What's your name?
Jaime. I'm from Spain.
Spain. How you doing, mate? I'm doing interviews and I'm trying to, establish whether people have heard of certain topics or not. I'll just give you that later. Can I ask you, are you religious at all?
No, I'm not religious. I was brought up in a Christian family,
Yeah.
but I'm not practitioner.
No.
No.
Do you go with science? Do you like science and kind of scientific discoveries and stuff like that?
Science?
Yeah.
Yes, I actually do like science.
If I asked you what science means to you, what would you say?
Science. For me, science is one of the most important parts for human life. Science and religion too, both of them. But science is important for me to develop and develop as a society.
Yeah.
Especially the world that we live in now that needs so much improvements for so many things.
Yes, so would you agree then that the world's in quite a bad state at the moment?
Yes. I think that the world reached the state that we can either maintain ourselves or try and make things a little better, but I think it's in decline.
Yeah.
Society in general, I think that it's in decline.
I think I've got some theories about why it may be in decline. Do you question, who you are as a human being? Are you spiritual in any way? Well, I mean, if I ask you, what do you think life is? What do you think life is about?
What do I think life is about? I think that life is beautiful, and when we are born, we are given the biggest present, which is our life untouched, and then we are the ones that decide what to do with it.
Yeah.
And you can either break that toy or you can make it better.
So do you think human beings have been influenced by propaganda and cultural programming?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, and ideologies? Do you think people have been swayed by that?
Of course.
What if I was then to... I mean, do you question a lot of things about reality?
Let's put it this way. We live in a world that basically it's programmed for us. So basically we are like puppets of a society that we live in. So for instance, you are born, you go to school, then you go to university or you work, and let's say that there are some things in life that everyone expects from you, like having a job, creating a family, buy a house, for example, and settle and basically just do work, just do a living that we are programmed for.
Yeah.
So we do what society thinks is good.
Yeah.
But it's not the best.
Yeah. So you would agree then that there's lots of programming with human beings. Now, if we were to start to look into this, and I'll get right to this kind of point, you have referenced the world that we're living in. Do you think it's hugely important to know exactly where you are, what the world actually is?
Of course.
Yeah. Can I ask you, what do you think the world is? Do you think it's a globe?
Yes.
You do think it's a globe?
Yes, of course.
Can I ask you why?
Because science has proved it. However.
Yeah. And could I ask you, how have they proven it?
Through theories. And yes, theories. We cannot touch the globe as such. We live in it. But probably only 1% or even less, maybe like 0.20% of the population will actually has the chance to see the globe, or from an outside. So imagine an astronaut, right? We live in a world, but really I come from Spain and I mean we travel, right? But we just live here. We don't really know much about where we live.
Do you think that it would be important if it was the case that it wasn't a globe and the Earth was actually something different from what we have been told through the education and through the media?
Actually, I agree with that. I think that the thing, what we call the world, is way more deeper than just a planet. I think that there is way more to it and that we don't know about it.
So if I was then to say to you that, if I says to you I disagree that the Earth is a globe, and I could say to you that I can claim that the Earth is a level plane, and I could prove that to you right now, would you be interested in hearing about that?
Yeah.
So we talked about science and how it's important for discoveries and for advancing certain things. But for me, science has to be based in substance.
Yes.
So we have to have substance, measurement, we have to understand the substance in order to use it and apply it and to extend our knowledge of it. So if I was then to say, would you agree that they claim that the Earth is 80% covered in water? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Your everyday practical experience of liquid is that water will take the shape of a container.
Yes.
The surface will always be horizontal and flat. Now that's practical reality. That's understood in science and it's applied every single day. We use it to level, we use it to build, construct. We build canals, we build dams. But if you look at the globe, you would have to believe that the oceans and bodies of water, rivers, are conforming to the exterior of the globe, thereby showing convexity on the surface of the water.
Yes.
That goes against all observed and tested reality. Now for me, that one fundamental fact goes against the idea that we live in a globe. So the only thing we have is images. I mean, if I was to say you believe you live in a globe, what is that based on? Is it based on images or just because you were told so?
Well, I was taught so in school.
Yeah.
But you can also find out by yourself that the world is a globe. For example, when you sail.
Yeah.
For instance, when you're in a sailing boat, you have to take measurements in order to. So, for instance, if you are in Prestwick and you grab a sailing boat and you want to go to Greenland.
Yeah. What shape's your map that you're using?
My shape of the map.
What shape would the map be?
Flat and also round. You need both.
I've never seen a round map.
Well, not a round map, but a flat one, so in a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So basically, just let's say that through gravity, because gravity exists everywhere here in the globe, we are able to travel because somehow, and I don't know why, the world is fucking round.
So would it be true to say that I'm asking you this, but really you really don't know why?
I really don't know why.
You really don't know why.
It's a really good question because
it's great that you're being really honest, and that's what I'm looking for. You know, a bit of intellectual honesty when you put these questions to people. You know, quite a lot of the time people regurgitate these phrases.
Yes.
Like you just said gravity a wee minute ago, but yet they'll quite openly and honestly tell you that they have never proven gravity and they don't actually know what it is. I mean, and this will come from guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is one of the main spokespersons for NASA. And for me, you know, they can't define it and show it practically. But in order for you to claim that the Earth is a sphere, you would have to have some sort of measurement to show that it is actually a sphere. Because if I was to come to you right now and say, look, here's an iPad and here is images of the Loch Ness Monster, would you take those images to be scientific proof that the Loch Ness Monster was actually true?
No.
So why then would you take the images from the TV in regards to the Earth being a globe as being scientific proof that the Earth was actually a globe? What's the difference? Between me showing you images of Nessie,
yes,
and somebody showing you the images of the Earth being a globe?
There is not real difference.
No any difference. So would you agree then that it's no conclusive scientific proof that the Earth would be a sphere then? If I says to you, like I just says to you a minute ago, liquid is a substance that you can test yourself, and then that liquid tells you that it has to be contained,
yes,
that it doesn't conform to the exterior of shapes, but somebody's shown you an image that contradicts your common sense, everyday experience of reality.
Yes.
Which do you believe? Which would you go with? Would you go with the image, or would you go with your direct experience?
You should go with your common sense.
Direct experience?
Yes, of course.
When you're looking out into the ocean and you see the horizon,
yes.
You know what the horizon is?
Yes.
What shape is that?
Horizontal in its own way.
Flat. No, horizontal means flat parallel.
Yes.
Flat parallel. So have you ever heard of this, the thing about the earth being flat?
Of course.
You have heard of it?
Colón was the first one to say,
Columbus
was the first one to say that the earth was round. And at that time everyone thought that the earth was flat, but somehow he changed that perception of reality that everyone thought. And as Columbus did that, we can also prove him wrong, because we really don't see that the earth is a globe, because
you don't?
We cannot see it, we cannot touch it, we are here but we cannot.
Your everyday experience of the earth is that it's level?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Like everything in life.
Yeah, it's on a level.
Yeah.
So that's my point. You know, if that is your everyday experience, the only thing that would be influencing you would be images that you see through the TV.
Yes.
But yet we can go to the cinema and we can watch movies like Interstellar or The Martian, and we can see the exact same things created in Hollywood using computer generated images. So for me that really is not enough. And again, practicality and practical. I mean, you flew here, I take it, on a aeroplane.
Yeah.
And again, you know, they're called aeroplanes. Did you look out the window?
Yes.
And what did you see when you were looking out the window? Did you see curvature anywhere?
Sorry?
Did you see curvature anywhere?
No, but when you travel, you experience change in time.
Yeah.
Also change in. Well, we cannot see it and we cannot feel it, but I like to believe that when we travel, our hours change because the Earth is actually a globe, not flat,
and that the sun is on the other side.
Yes.
But what if the sun was a local light source and it wasn't 93 million miles away, the way they tell you that it is?
We will never know that.
Well, that's it. But some people just believe what they were told, regardless of investigating. So my main point of this is really just to ask people if they have heard of the flat Earth thing, and if they would be considering, investigating the validity of the claim that they live on a globe. I mean, based on this conversation that we've had, are you going to give any further thought into this, or?
Basically, we believe in what we are taught. So,
do you think that's dangerous?
Of course.
Just to believe in what you were told.
I think that teachers, for example, are there to teach us material, not to implement ideas on our minds. You know, we should be able to decide and believe by ourselves what we think is true or not.
Yeah. And you would base that on your own direct experience.
Yes.
Which is, that's absolutely perfect. I always encourage people for that.
Yes.
Base things on your experience. Don't take things on hearsay.
Yes.
So again, you believe it's a globe based on hearsay.
Yes.
So, for me, I would suggest that in order for you to establish these things yourself, that you have a proper investigation into it and have a look at it yourself.
I think, actually now, I will think more about it.
Think more about it?
Yeah.
Excellent. Nice one, man. Well, I really appreciate your time. It's been a pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, man.
It was a pleasure.